Hi, Christina here. Welcome back into my studio. This might actually be the last one for the season from here. If you're new to my channel, I live in the Gambia, West Africa, 5-6 months of the year, and the rest I live in Sweden. But here in my studio in the Gambia, which is also my home, this is where I have all the kinds of art materials I'm using for mixed media. This is where I have the space. This is also where I host courses, art workshops, sometimes here for small groups, or I go to a restaurant or some other place to host larger groups. But this is the place to do most of my real mixed media paintings. And the rest, like when I'm back in Sweden, I still do a little bit of mixed media, but I tend to work more with the pro markers, more drawings, more digital artwork, because I'm moving around a little bit more there. So this is the place to do these types of things. And today I wanted to show you how I create colored pattern papers, sort of like collage papers. You know, sometimes I use pieces from newspapers and magazines in my paintings just to give it a little bit extra interest and dimension. And I have a video where you can see how I gather materials from newspapers and magazines and how I apply that in my artwork in different ways. So I'm going to link that in the end of the video so you can see that too. But today I'm going to be painting a lot of, as I say, colored pattern papers. It's actually a perfect thing to do. Those days you feel like you want to play and you want to paint, you want to be creative, but you don't know what to paint, you don't have like a specific idea of a painting or anything, but you still want to just play around. So to make collage papers is very low pressure, because it's not like you're working on a canvas, you're working on just cheap papers. You're gonna see what I'm using. It's not like watercolor papers either that is a little bit more expensive, but I'm really working on cheap papers. And also you don't have to worry about composition or anything, because you're actually just using this for your coming artwork. So absolutely no pressure, just fun. So I'm gonna show you what I use. So here would be stacks of just white paper. I think these are a little bit thicker, but it doesn't have to be thick at all. It's actually better if it's just regular copy paper. And here I have some already colored papers. They're also very, very thin. I bought like a collection of them. They come like this. So you have different colors, light blue, yellow, deeper yellow, pink. And here we have this. I don't know what to call it. I mean, you see, it's a chef on the outside. It's some kind of kitchen paper. Maybe this is what is called deli paper. It's very thin, and it has a little bit glossier side and a more textured side, and it's transparent, so it gives a little bit different effect. And so this is excellent also for as collage papers. So if you've seen videos from before, you know that I use a lot of my these homemade stamps. It's like a foam material, and usually I use it straight into the artwork, but now I'm gonna use it to create these papers. So I took some blue and black because I want to have two variations of color in this one. So I start with the blue, and I apply the paint onto like this, and then I just start to stamp. And you see I also go out of from the paper, so I don't want like all the marks to be sitting inside. In that way you can actually use this paper all the way out to the edges. I'm actually gonna be cutting or ripping from this paper and then glue it into some artwork. And the black, I use a little bit less. This is my plan, just to have it a little bit here and there. Yeah, I think it's alright. And I mean, you can also make this collage paper with less stamps if you want much more white to show through, so that's also possible. So I have this now, I just put it aside to dry, and then I get going with the next one. This is bubble wrap, and bubble wrap comes in different sizes. You have big bubbles, middle bubbles, small bubbles. Well, yeah, you have some bubbles that look different from each other, you know, it gives a different impression, which is nice. What I do is I have a small little cut piece from a dish sponge, kitchen sponge maybe, and I press it into the paint like this. Make sure it's not too overloaded, because then the stamp could be not so nice. So I play it like this, and then I turn it, I keep it still, press down really well. Whoops! And I love how the mark making here, because no bubble is the same as the other bubble actually, so it's becomes a very organic look. Really, really, really love this one. So I just keep, I just keep stamping with it. So I'm going to start with this yellow paper here. And here I have some pro markers. These are alcohol-based markers, and they are transparent. So when you work on top, they're actually meant to be used on white paper, like for coloring in illustrations and so forth. But they are transparent, so when you work on top of a color like this, sometimes I use them in my mixed media on top of acrylic paint, just to get that little bit subtle look. So I take a bright green here, so I go on top, and I can just, you know, play like this. Okay, this is quite visible because I'm working on top of yellow, which is very light. But here I'm making just some wiggly lines, having fun. But I'm trying also to make sure that I fill up the paper as much as I can before I switch on to another color. I might, let's see. Yellow on top of yellow. Does it make... Yeah, you see? Yellow on top of yellow. This yellow is a little bit darker than the other yellow. Let's see, I bring out. This is tan. Okay. Here I take orange. See, it gives a little bit more, yeah. Okay, am I done? Am I done? Am I done? Yeah, maybe. I just kept doing lines. I mean, I could actually add some other kind of interesting little dots here and there. Yeah. And this one is, you don't even have to put aside to dry because it dries immediately. These alcoholic markers, they dry immediately. So that was another paper made in a different way. Here I have a stencil. So this is plastic where I have actually cut openings in this plastic that I can use as a way to make marks. So instead of stamping, I'm actually pushing the paint through these openings, and so that's why it's called a stencil instead of a stamp. Okay, so I think I'm gonna stick with this black color. Make sure I don't have too much paint going on at the same time, because then otherwise it can leak a bit. It doesn't really matter that much if it leaks, because as I told you, this is to rip apart and be something that's going to be ripped apart and glued into some kind of artwork. So nothing of this has to look perfect in any shape or form. So, okay, I really like this one. So this needs to be put aside to dry. And another thing you can do is actually just to paint randomly on top of the paper with different colors. Yeah, so that's another way. So very easily, you don't need any stamps or anything else than just a paintbrush and some acrylic paints. And here I have this very thin sort of deli sandwich paper, whatever. It's very, very thin, and it will be, as I said, transparent on top when I glue it down onto a piece of artwork. So I will only see where I put the paint down. The rest will be, yeah, transparent. So in this case, what I do, I just take, this is a gold acrylic. So I'm gonna take a few dollops here and there. And yeah, oh, I might just as well just smear it out with my fingers like this. This is also something you can do maybe once in a while. I mean, all the ways that I'm working with mark making directly into my paintings is absolutely the same things that I'm doing to these collage papers. It's just that these will have to be glued in. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. Okay, so now this has dried, and I'm gonna use the same stamp as in the previous collage paper, this one here. And then I'm gonna stamp it a bit here and there. But I'm actually gonna leave a lot of space in between. I'm not gonna fill it up as crazy as the other one. So the thing here, I'm gonna let this dry. So the thing here is that when I cut out or rip out, so you can see that in between where there's no color, you would it will be completely transparent when you glue it on. So now my papers have dried, and as you can see, they're quite different in style and color and pattern and all that, and ready to be used for something fun. So here in this on this hippo card, I've cut out some branches that I've glued onto the background. And you can also see it here in this one, where I'm cutting out and gluing it onto a card. So I mean, sometimes you would cut it out if there's a specific object you're making with the colored paper, or you can just rip out a piece and use it and glue it into the background as an interesting background. So it all depends on how you want to use it. Now this has dried now, and I have a colored card here. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip a piece out, as I said. I'm going to get some of that stamp and some of that gold. Maybe a couple pieces like that. And then I bring out my matte medium. And you see how the in between it looks white. What is not painted really, but I'm gonna put a little bit of matte medium there. Take a sponge. So matte medium is, it's not really a glue, but I use it as a kind of decoupage glue. So now I put this on top, like that. Some of that color will come off, because I thought it had dried completely, but not, you know. This is what happens when you can't wait. So just to get some of that excess off, I'm gonna take a paper towel. So more or less the white from this deli paper will actually turn transparent. Not everywhere, I don't know. Depends on, I guess, what the paint, what the color is underneath. So as you can see here, I keep all my collage papers in some kind of folder like this. So to keep them a little bit more organized than just to have them laying around. So I can show you actually a little bit of a collection. You see, oh, very much ripped. It's the same type of style that I did before here. But I can just go through a little bit so you can get a sense of all the type of collage papers that I've created. Here we have some other type. Here, I actually love this one because it has a lot of texture that I have. I've used like a texture stamp. I have so many variations of stamps, and then I have something that I call texture stamp that is not any type of form or anything. It's just a lot of a big piece of foam stamp with a lot of, yeah, scribbles, you could say, inside. I love that. Here we have something that I cut out. Yeah, I kind of love this one. Oh, my fish, I used my fishbone stamp, and I did some with a little bit more ink and some with a little bit less ink. Kind of love how that turned out. This is not that, it's very similar colors, but I made some kind of zebra looking stamp that I used on this. Here's another of those round stamps, similar, you recognize that. And yeah, and here, orange and gold, just with a paintbrush, very simple. Here also, I went crazy with a paintbrush and a gazillion of colors there. This was a fantastic type of fruit net. This is also like, I use fruit nets, and sometimes I get a hold of different varieties of fruit nets that gives different marks when you stamp. That's amazing. Funny. Here I used some kind of mask, different colors. Here you see again, this is also this jelly paper, and with some very, I don't know, pastel-y, ice creamy type of colors. Ice creamy colors, yeah. I have my words for things. This is another one with the type of texture stamp I was talking about. And this is something funny. I just went and did some fun abstract paintings. It was just very, very fun. Here's another one. And this one. Yeah, so now you've seen what you can do if you have one of those days where you just want to paint but with no expectation of creating something fantastic. And if you are inspired, you know a little bit what to do. You don't need much equipment. You just need paper and paint, sort of, and look around what you can find. Bubble wrap, or just go crazy with a paintbrush. So, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I see you in the next video.